Hi, you're watching Startup Show San Diego. We're here with Matt Mulrennan of the XPrize, and we're also here looking at a lot of boats here at the Marine Group Boatworks here in Chula Vista. You can actually see the El Salvador in back of us, the San Salvador, the a replica of the first ship to sell into San Diego. Anyway, we'll switch the camera here and welcome Matt. So Matt, welcome to Startup Show San Diego.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So you're an XPrize person up in LA. So did XPrize find you, or did you find XPrize?
Yeah, so I think it was a little bit of both. I had heard about XPrize from their involvement in the space industry. So the first XPrize was about incentivizing the first private space flight. And as you know now, the private space industry is a huge industry. But I was attracted to XPrize when they got into ocean competitions and trying to innovate and drive innovators to solve ocean grand challenges. So when they launched a big $2 million prize to try and develop breakthrough ocean sensors, I was immediately like, I'm in. This is great. This will be really fun.
So take me back to that first conversation you had with anybody from XPrize where you said, like, I'm interested, I'm in. Who'd you talk to, and what was that conversation like?
Yeah, so I had reached out to them when they launched this prize and said, why'd you guys do this? And what was the big issue here? And they said, we heard from a bunch of experts that we have a huge problem of ocean acidification, and we need breakthrough pH sensors in order to better understand it. And I said, I'm in, because my background was in ocean acidification. I used to study it right here in our backyard in Scripps, Institution of Oceanography. And immediately I said, innovation is going to solve some of these challenges. It's going to be a bridge to solve some of the big challenges facing the ocean. And I just love that positive enthusiasm that XPrize had to solving grand challenges, to really taking them on.
So, how did you get so passionate about the oceans?
Yeah, so I grew up on the East Coast, long distance relationship with the ocean. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but my dad took me fishing a lot. And we went out and we caught fish, and they were like aliens to me. I was so interested in them. They're so dissimilar from us. And that got me passionate about what else is out there. What else do we not know about? And I found out about all of these different issues facing the ocean, and I really wanted to dedicate myself to trying to solve them. I've been attracted to challenges, and the ocean is facing many challenges. So that's really why I wanted to get involved. And there's just some kind of connection to the ocean that I think a lot of us feel. And personally, that's driven me to everything I do in my career.
So when you started talking with the XPrize, you got a good relationship going there. What was the biggest challenge in getting this XPrize out to people, and all the things that you had to do is getting ready, getting the word out? What was your personally biggest challenge?
Yeah, so sometimes it's about trying to push people to have the guts to join an XPrize, to really put their technologies out there. Sometimes engineers and otherwise, they want to do things and tinker in their labs, and they don't always want to do a big competition and put themselves next to the other best in the world. And you got to convince people, you know what, you can do this. So in recruiting teams, we have a whole strategy of how we go out. We try to inspire people about getting involved and trying to solve this problem. So it got really exciting. The men and women that are involved in an XPrize, they're just fantastic people, and it really built a whole community around this prize about solving the problem, not just developing the technology. So after you convince them and say, hey, this is a great idea and you should join this XPrize, usually the rest is pretty easy to get them engaged and get them enthusiastic.
So Matt, with people pursuing this prize, winning prize, all the people you've dealt with, what is the thing that some person said, whether it's a competitor, whether it's an observer, whether it's someone XPrize, what thing has someone said that made you the most proud or happiest?
Yeah, I'd say that there's a few examples. One of which was just the awards of our last prize, getting through the whole process and having somebody actually achieve the whole goal. Our winner was from Sunburst Sensors in Montana, and they just did an excellent job. But we had a young team of high school students that we wrote a letter of recommendation. They went on to great engineering schools, and it was just great to see. They wrote some very encouraging letters to us saying how much they loved being involved in the XPrize, and and that really took our hearts.
So what prize were they chasing, and what got them involved?
Yeah, so they were a local team out of Monterey, and they went up and competed against the best ocean sensor developers in the world. It's a team called Fine Scale, and they did an excellent job, and they had the guts to join this international competition because we were doing the testing right in their backyard. So they said, let's develop an ocean pH sensor and try to make it the best. And so they did, and they did in a very short amount of time, 3D printed this casing, entered in the competition, and it worked. And they were super excited when it did, screaming out with joy when they got it in the lab and they actually got this pH sensor to work. So they did some very serious engineering work in a very short amount of time, and we were very proud that they did that.
So why ocean pH? Easy. What's the problem with an ocean pH sensor?
Yeah, sure. So the grand challenge of ocean acidification is why we need better pH sensors. We know that the global ocean is changing in terms of its chemistry, but we didn't have these very accurate and affordable ocean pH sensors. The fine scale changes are happening in local waters. It's very significant for marine life. It's a huge threat to marine life as well as some big industries like fisheries. And we needed to know, how is our ocean changing on a local scale? We needed better sensors to be able to do that in order for society to adapt to those changes. So ocean pH has been around for a long time, litmus tests and otherwise, but robust, can stay out there for long periods of time and be accurate and affordable, easy to use.
So what you're saying is the ocean is kind of big, and it doesn't do you any good to measure the pH outside San Diego Bay, or that you have to measure the ocean and the ocean and the ocean. So you need robust sensors that can be there for a long time through changing climates, and you have to put a lot of them out there. Am I on track?
Yeah, that's correct. There's a lot of places in the world. The U.S. West Coast, we're doing a pretty good job with monitoring, but there's a lot of gaps in information in the world's oceans. We still don't know a lot about the ocean and how it's changing due to human activity. So XPrize is challenging innovators to try and solve those problems, and we're seeing some great solutions come about.
Okay. Now an important question is, how does somebody watching this get one of those cool pens up there? How can they get one?
You can check out xprize.org. You can sign up to be a team, and if you win an XPrize, I think I could hook you up and get you one of these things, as well as a big check for millions of dollars. So you can go out and buy as many as you want.
The check or the pen? I think I'll take both. Yeah. So what excites you the most right now?
I think what's really exciting is watching entrepreneurs and innovators get involved in trying to solve the challenges facing the ocean and turning them into opportunities. What really excites me is how much we're still about to discover about our oceans. There's so much out there left to know. And so we have a $7 million prize right now called the Ocean Discovery XPrize. And we're challenging teams to be able to develop technologies to go out and explore our oceans, including the deep sea, and come back with information. So we're really hoping that we get some major discoveries out of the technologies that are created, and we explore the rest of the ocean that hasn't been discovered yet.
So how many, what kind of people come that are like established companies, and what is that like compared to people that are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that nobody knows about? How does the framework, how does your landscape look on terms of competitors?
Yeah, that's a great question. It comes from academics. You come from your established oceanographers and sensor developers, but you also get the small, nimble teams. And we found at XPrize that some of the small teams are willing to take risks and join these kind of competitions. Some of the big major companies, sometimes they're a little slow to want to sign up and put themselves out there, put their name on something that's going to compete against all these other young startup nimbles companies that can just join a competition like this. So it's really been all over the place, from surfers down here in San Diego to high school students to old school oceanographers have joined our competition. So it's really exciting to see the hodgepodge mix of teams that you get in XPrize. It's open to anybody.
And how do startup companies find out about this?
Yeah, so xprize.org, we have a bunch of prizes available, not just in oceans, but in healthcare and space exploration and otherwise, learning-based software. And so there's tons of prizes available. We're trying to launch more in the ocean space as well, a couple more in the next few years, so stay tuned. But we have a current prize that's open right now. And check us out, xprize.org, and hashtag Team Ocean.
So if a startup gets started, is there any kind of mentorship or support that you can give startup companies that want to get started with XPrize?
Yeah, so we're trying to make all sorts of connections and resources for teams that join, as well as the startups. We try to get them in front of investors and the media to try and give them a global stage. So really that's part of what joining an XPrize is all about, is joining a community, joining an ecosystem of problem solvers, of like-minded individuals, and that gives businesses all sorts of opportunities.
Okay, Matt, so 1 to 3 years from today, you or I are sitting out on a boat watching a bunch of pH sensors just working like a charm. And I ask you, Matt, in the last 1 to 3 years, what are you most proud of? What do you think your answer will be?
Yeah, I think it's going to be helping to fill in the gaps and say, this is significant throughout the ages in terms of understanding our ocean. We're just at the beginning stages, so we're just developing the tools and the groundwork for understanding our ocean. So I'm really excited to be at some of the early stages of startups and companies that are solving those problems.
So, Matt, thank you for your time, and thank you for what you do, and thank you for your passion.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for watching Startup Show San Diego.